Good morning, Namaste. This is Dr. Madhuri Vittal, Faculty of Agricultural and Veterinary Sciences, Jayoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. As you know, I'll be taking the course on metabolism and bioenergetics this semester. So, in the previous sessions, we have looked into glycolysis, Krebs cycle, pentose phosphate pathway, and like that. So, a glyoxylate pathway. So, now we will be looking into the metabolism of glycogen in the body. So, what is glycogen? Glycogen is a polymer of glucose, and that is the main storage for glucose as such in our body. So it's primary carbohydrate storage, and it's in animals, and it's composed of units of glucose linked by alpha 1,4 branches and have alpha 1,6 branches also occurring every approximately 8 to 12 residues. Now, this 8 to 12 residues, that is actually very important when it comes to glycogenolysis. So each glycogen molecule have a single reducing and multiple non-reducing ends. So the glycogenolysis always occurs from the non-reducing end, from the single reducing end. That is always like the location from where the reduction happens, the glycogenolysis happens. So if we were to look into the structure of glycogen, it'll be something like this. Yeah. So this is how glycogen will be looking like. That these chains themselves, the single chains themselves are like the alpha 1,4 linkages. And wherever there is a green dot that you can see, that will be the alpha 1,6 linkages. Now, this what these alpha 1,4 and alpha 1,6 are, like you might have studied about the numbering of the carbon molecules in glucose. And so there'll be this is 1 and this is 4. So over here, when the first carbon is getting linked to the fourth carbon, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the protruding CH2OH is the sixth carbon. So when it is linking from the first to the fourth, then that is the alpha 1,4 linkage. Now, what is the alpha 1,6 linkage? In that, the OH from here is taken, and it will link to the first carbon, and that will be the alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. And so your glycogen molecule, one glycogen molecule can contain 30,000, 60,000 glucose molecules in them. So it's a very highly compact structure, and it has got these alpha 1,4 linkages that are the plain open molecules, the alpha 1,6 linkages that are shown in the green dots, and then it will again continue with alpha 1,4 linkages, and these are the non-reducing ends, and this is the reducing end. So this is basically the structure of glycogen. So as I was saying, that glycogen contains like 30,000 or more glucose moieties. So it acts like a battery backup for the body. Like if the body falls into a starving condition, then brain requires continuous energy throughout. So at that time, there isn't enough time to process the lipids, the fats stored in the body, and then make it into acetyl CoA and then generate energy. That simply is not possible at that time, because energy needs to be provided fast. Then it is at that time that glycogenolysis happens, that the glycogen is lysed, and the resulting molecules, like one step of glycogenolysis actually ends up with one glucose molecule and one glucose 1 phosphate molecule, which can be converted into glucose 6 phosphate molecule by the use of a phosphoglucomutase enzyme. It can convert the glucose 1 phosphate to glucose 6 phosphate. And you know that glucose 6 phosphate is actually uh, uh, like the second step. Formation of glucose 6 phosphate is like glucose to glucose 6 phosphate, and then it enters the glycolysis. So if we have glucose 6 phosphate, it can enter glycolysis as such. So thereby it is a ready source of energy, this process of glycogenolysis, as compared to fatty acid metabolism. Because if we were to breaking down a fatty acids takes much longer. So whatever fats have been stored in the body, breaking it and then obtaining energy, that is not going to enable the work of proper functioning of brain throughout, because brain is something that consumes like the major portion of the energy for the body, and also like that is something that requires like continuous blood supply, continuous source of energy. So it is for the brain, like if we are in a fasting situation, the blood glucose level goes so low, then if the brain doesn't get enough energy, you could fall into a coma, and that is a severe medical condition. So in order to prevent the body from doing that, the body itself has got its own backup mechanisms, and this glycogen storage of glucose in glycogen is the battery backup. Like when the power has gone down, this is the generator that gets turned on, so that the brain will be supplied with enough energy. Like you will be feeling faint and all that, because there won't be enough energy to supply glucose for all the bodily functions, but definitely enough to supply the brain and keep it working. Otherwise, if the blood glucose levels fall, like you know that the blood glucose levels are normally within the range of 78 or 80 to 110 is the normal fasting glucose level. So if the levels are falling below that, like below 70 up to say about 40 milligram per like decimeter cube, then what happens is that it can lead to the body getting shut down, the brain getting shut down, and the body falling into a comatose state. So in order to prevent that, this is the backup mechanism by the body. So if we were to go into the steps of glycogenolysis, so that occurs in the cytosol, and the various steps are as follows. The first step is phosphorylase will release one glucose 1 phosphate from glycogen. So it need not be one. What happens is, in this, the restriction is that, like I had told you, that the alpha 1,6 linkages occur every 8 to 12 molecules. So as long as the alpha 1,6 linkage is about 4 molecules away, this will get uh, removed. That much of glucose 1-phosphates can be removed. And then the next step is the rearrangement of the remaining glucose molecule. So that is done by a transferase. So I'll show you the screen for that, because otherwise this will be very confusing. So these are the steps of glycogenolysis. So look at the pink colored molecules, like this one, this 3 pink and this 4 and 5 yellows together is one glycogen chain. There is an alpha 1,6 linkage and to another chain, and this is all the same glycogen molecule. So these two chains are linked by these two alpha 1,4 chains are linked by an alpha 1,6 linkage. So what happens is 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 3 blue and 1 green colored are totally actually that is like the 4 molecules from the alpha 1,6 linkage, and over here also 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So as long as this is there, there will be a conformational resistance also. So this much, this whatever is shaded in purple in the magenta color, that can be removed by the phosphorylase. And so this process doesn't use ATP. It uses phosphate as such. HPO4 molecules are used, and so doesn't consume energy in the way ATP lysis takes, consumes energy. Like when ATP is consumed, the cellular energy is released, no? And so this is not an energy coupled reaction actually. This just takes phosphate, and this phosphorylase will phosphorylate the glucose molecules that are being detached from here and give glucose 1-phosphate. So that is the first step of glycogenolysis. Now the second step is, now this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that much of glucose molecules are left in this linkage. And now what happens is, these 3 will be transferred by transferase to form a link over here, so that only the glucose molecule with the alpha 1,6 linkage will remain over here in this chain, and the rest will be transferred to the main chain, the core. And once that happens, then the enzyme, the glucose 1,6 glucosidase, that will hydrolyze the alpha 1,6 bond and release 1 glucose. And then the final step is that we had got like so many glucose 1-phosphate. So glucose 1-phosphate as such is not used in metabolism. It needs to be converted into glucose 6-phosphate before it can be used. And so phosphoglucomutase will convert this glucose 1-phosphate into glucose 6-phosphate. So those are the steps of glycogenolysis. So now I will get into the other. This glycogen phosphorylase catalyzes the breakdown of glycogen into glucose 1-phosphate. And as I was saying, this phosphate doesn't come from ATP, since ATP is not used to put phosphate on the glucose 1-phosphate. So this is an energy saving reaction. And this what happens is it ends up with 1 molecule of glucose 1-phosphate and glycogen molecule that has got 1 residue less. Like say there were 30,001 residues in the glycogen. Now, after this one step of glycogen phosphorylase activity, there will be 30,000 molecules left. And then if another step is happening, then there will be like 30,000 and 29,999, then 29,998. So if we are like removing these 8 molecules, and there were initially some 30,000, say 30,000 molecules, and we are removing 8 molecules, then there will be total of 29,992 molecules of glucose present in the residues of glucose present in the glycogen molecule at the end of the phosphorylase activity. Then the transferase will transfer whatever, like when the alpha 1,6 chain has got only 4 residues left, it will transfer these 3 molecules. And once those 3 molecules are transferred, then that single glucose molecule that is left, that will be hydrolyzed. Water will be added and it will be hydrolyzed by the alpha 1,6 glucosidase. So those are the main 3 steps. The fourth and the final step is actually not linked to the glycogen molecule, but to the glucose 1-phosphate molecule that has been released, as in that this glucose 1-phosphate cannot as such be used for energy production by glycolysis. So it will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate by phosphoglucomutase. And once that happens, it can directly enter glycolysis and be a ready source of energy for the body. So that is the entire process of glycogenolysis. We will be getting into the regulation of glycogenolysis in the next session. So please make sure that you know these 3 steps of the the 4 steps of the glycogenolysis. The phosphorylase will remove the glucose 1-phosphate molecules by phosphorylation, and that is by using inorganic phosphate. It's HPO4 minus that is used. Then transferase will transfer whatever is left at that alpha 1,6 chain to the alpha 1,4 chain, the core chain, and 1 glucose molecule will be left that will be hydrolyzed. And finally, the glucose 1-phosphate will be mutated by the mutase enzyme, the phosphoglucomutase enzyme, to form the glucose 6-phosphate, which will enter the glycolysis. So that will be it for glycogenolysis. Thank you. Have a good day.